So what I would like to do at some level in my writing is I would like people to help people to know how a mortgage taken out in Newcastle can link them to bad debts in California. This is I mean, we need to be able to understand these things. In fact, an anthropologist, Paul Jorion, who of course is not an anthropologist anymore, he's actually an executive vice president of Countrywide, which is the largest American mortgage bank, and he lives in California and is about to go down with his bank, I expect. But he's got a book out which is on the coming crisis of American capitalism, which was published in January of this year, and it's up for a prize in the French Senate at the moment. So it seems to me that it is possible and desirable for us to engage in making the world as people experience it more accessible to them. So to sum this up, as I said, rather rushed passage, I believe that there are two great means of communication. One of them we know about fully and have investigated at great length, which is language. But we have failed to study and to recognize the significance of money as a form of communication, mainly because of our ability to demonize it. I mean, anthropologists on the whole have presented an extraordinarily simplified and homogeneous picture of money. We all know what happens. Capitalism comes to town, local culture gets destroyed, money goes up to the top of society and never comes back. We know the story, there's no surprise in it. And I believe that this complicity in a general willingness to demonize money, which I think comes out of the fact that we don't have very much of it, and hate the fact that people who do have more of it have more social power than we do. I believe that, I mean, a great deal of what I have to say is that society is taking on new forms at this time, largely as a result of a communications revolution, and we have to understand that money is a part of, feeds into, benefits from that. It doesn't get rid of inequalities in society. In fact, our society is rapidly becoming more unequal in many ways, but it is necessary, I think, to try and figure out ways of making more democratic and egalitarian use of money, and if we are going to do that, we need to understand it. We can't afford to neglect money's potential for universal connection as well as for social differentiation. In my final short section, I just want to talk about the people, and that, of course, for me, means anthropology. Economic anthropology has people in it in two senses. First of all, faced with the impersonal, dehumanized analysis of economy that is produced by economists, it's absolutely essential for anthropologists and linked subjects to demonstrate that economy consists of people doing things and thinking about what they're doing when they do it. But I also think of economic anthropology as having people in it in the larger sense of all the people, humanity as a whole. We are, at some level, concerned with addressing that problem too. Now, the emergence of world society, in a way that I've alluded to without being able to demonstrate, I think opens up the possibility for a new human universal. Now, human universals in the past have tended to be ideas imposed on people by Western powers in the name of Christianity or the bourgeois model of society or whatever. What I mean by the new human universal is not an idea at all, but the fact that we are palpably living together on the planet, and that we need to take cognizance of our shared existence and think about how we can develop institutions that are appropriate to it, as I think most of our institutions currently are not. Now, the idea, my notion of the new human universal is something akin to great literature. Great writers speak to us at a universal level when they go deeply into particular personalities, places, and times. I mean, we are more likely to experience literature at a universal level if it does that than if we read it simply as a series of abstract generalizations. And of course, this notion of great literature has some affinity with ethnography. Ethnography did make the move a century ago by anthropologists in general to join the people where they live, to find out what they do and think, and to bring that experience concretely into the discussion of human society and culture in general. So I believe that anthropology can creatively build on its experience of the 20th century and develop and contribute to a conversation about the new human universal. What this represents, I think, is a return to the philosophical anthropology of the 18th century, and especially building on Kant. But I conceive of this not as a means of reforming the academic discipline currently known as anthropology. I don't think it would have much chance of that, given the intellectual and personal choices that most academic anthropologists have taken. But rather, I see it as an interdisciplinary project, bringing historians, sociologists, anthropologists, philosophers, literary types, and so on, to the study of humanity as a whole, conceived of rather like development has for the last half century, as an intellectual strategy that people from different disciplines can come together to pursue.